You're watching the GameSpot co-op stage, sponsored by LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Hello everybody and welcome to the GameSpot stage here at E3 2016. This is the co-op stage right here on the show floor. It's day 3. I can't believe it's almost over. I am Lucy James and I am joined by an esteemed panel. Some incredible guests today. So joining me to talk about all things E3 is Matthew Patrick of the Game Theorists.
Hey, glad to be here. I'm glad I qualify as an esteemed panelist here.
Esteemed panelist. And my colleague, the man who sits next to me every day, is
Sorry
Dave
about that.
Jewett. Yeah.
I thought you meant Matt when you said esteemed, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
My esteem will spill over, I guess, onto you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
great.
get residual esteem.
I was just enjoying rocking out to that intro song. That was great.
Yeah, no, like even filming that was so much fun. We just spent half a day running around the office because we'd already seen your bit that you did for it with the hedge
Oh, with the
cutting.
hedge clippers?
So
Yeah.
we were like, okay, we have to best MatPat.
Oh, wow.
We have to do it.
I raised the bar to that level, huh?
So we are here to talk about what an E3 it's been. Do you think it was like on par with last year? Because last year was like the E3 of dreams, like Shenmue 3, Final Fantasy 7.
Yep.
What do you think of this year?
I would say, that's a good question. I think this E3 had a slow start, quite honestly. I think some of the early conferences, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. There weren't a lot of big surprises. There weren't even a lot of games that were announced, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But then you had kind of Ubisoft kicking it off, and then Sony just bringing it home, I think exceeding everyone's expectations. A lot of surprises, a lot of games that are announced. And so had you asked me, at the beginning of day one how this E3 is shaping up, I would have been a little bit more mixed. But having walked the show floor a bunch this year, having seen all the conferences, I am very pleased with this year. Does it rise up to last year? Maybe not quite so much, but I feel like this is definitely a strong E3.
Dave, this is your first E3. What's the experience been like?
Well, the first conferences, it had a leaky start.
What a
everything was
leakend that was.
Yeah, bravo for the leakend. I will applaud that again.
Leakend.
Leakend.
Nice. The pun is strong.
I cannot say that I came up with that, but I will popularize it.
Okay.
I'll use it in everything.
Great.
That's the thing.
Fantastic.
We weren't really surprised in the first couple of days because everything was getting drip fed to us by all the leaks. I think the biggest surprise from Xbox was when they announced their new console technology.
Right.
The games even stuff like Forza we knew was about just from tiny little hints.
Yep.
And it wasn't really until Sony turned up and be like, oh, by the way, Kojima's here, and then we were like, oh, okay, that's
Coming
a surprise.
out to the Mad Max soundtrack down that incredible lit up walkway. But let's talk about some of the games. So we're gonna go real deep on two games that got us all incredibly excited. So let's kick it off with the first look at Zelda gameplay.
Yeah.
So we finally got the title Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Have either of you guys played it?
Yeah.
I believe we both have, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I have not. I've watched. I've sat in on a demo and I've been just sort of give me the pad, give me the pad.
What are you doing sitting here? The line is already 2 hours long behind us.
We already have a video of the running of the nerds of people just going straight to Zelda.
Right? It's literally like the running of the bulls. I have never witnessed the start of E3 from this perspective, from the exhibitor perspective. As soon as the doors open, it's just a mad dash.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
I know. That's why I'm kind of glad we're up on the safety of the
elevated.
Right? I know. We're in a safe position and eerie atop where we can watch everyone else.
No moon door. No moon door.
No one's getting kicked through any moon doors.
So Matt, you obviously the Game Theorists. You guys do a bunch of theories about Link, about his the hook shot, about everything, about all the universes connected.
Whether or not he's dead or not. Yeah, absolutely.
He probably is dead.
At some point or another.
I don't even think Nintendo knows at this point. But what are your initial impressions from Breath of the Wild?
So I would say, looking at Breath of the Wild, that it's a fascinating game. It is so truly a Zelda game, and yet at the same time is so completely removed from what everything we expect a Zelda game to be, right? It's incredible. It goes back to probably the first ever game in the series. I think it's probably the closest approximation that we've ever gotten to the very first Zelda game, where the whole world is open for yours to explore at the very outset.
Or you can go straight to the final boss,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. That's what they tell me, is that you can go straight to the final boss, and hey, good luck to do it, if you feel like you can take on the challenge, but that's an option available to you. And, there's no linear item locking, things like that. And so That's pretty exciting. Like, if Zelda truly stands for being an adventure title that is, being a hero, riding your horse through open fields and crafting your own experience, this is that game. That being said, over decades of playing Zelda titles, I'm so accustomed to get dungeon, get item, beat boss, go to dungeon 2, right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're asking me to manage my body temperature, my food sources, cook my food. Here's a bunch of like special skills that Link has. He has a carry limit now.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And so as someone who's been playing with this franchise for a long time, it might be overwhelming. Do I believe that Nintendo has done it right and, will guide us along that path? Absolutely. But it's definitely going to be a learning curve for all Zelda gamers, myself included, as we kind of get acquainted to what this new Hyrule entails.
I mean, what I find interesting is, like, they're not really saying anything about the story or anything at the moment, of course, but they're showing off a buttload of systems.
Yes.
Like, just, as you mentioned, needing to keep warm, cooking your food. That doesn't seem... enemies can drop weapons mid-fight, and you can scrabble and change, and your weapons degrade over time. Dave, I know that when you played, you decided to mess with some of those systems.
Yeah, so I picked up the first time. Like, I'm not a massive Zelda gamer. Like, I maybe played a few hours of the N64 titles when I borrowed my friend's console. So as soon as I picked it up, I was like, okay, let's just see what I can break. So they have a system that you have a magnet. And basically, I brought up a treasure chest from the bottom of a pond and placed it in the middle of the field. And then I found this giant metal beam. So I carefully placed it on top of this treasure chest. I was like, okay, this is kind of like a seesaw. This is interesting. So then I stood on one end of it, and then suddenly the people managing the booth came up to me and like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, playing.
Yeah, right.
What do I know to do? Yep. And on the screen is just me holding a giant boulder over the other end of this seesaw with me standing on the other end.
Yeah.
And I just drop it, and Link just fires across the world, and they're like, we had no idea you could do that. And like with like his paraglider and stuff like that, I could have survived that fall.
Yeah.
But there's because of like all the new physics systems, all these new gameplay elements, there's stuff you can do in the world of Zelda now that's never been possible. Not only just in Zelda, but in many other games.
Did you shield slide?
Yeah, tried to do the whole shield surf things. I was a bit disappointed that it wouldn't actually work in the water. And
like skimboard across. That would have been cool.
Yeah,
but it's a whole new like hidden mechanic that everyone during my demo was like, oh my gosh, that guy down there did some like shield surfing. How do you do it? How do you do it? And everyone was kind of discovering all these new mechanics as the gameplay demo was going on. So it's a really exciting world to play around with.
And I mean, it's coming out for Wii U and NX, but obviously Nintendo are keeping stum. They're actually only Microsoft with the people to talk about new hardware. What do you think the main differences are going to be? They said it's going to be like a simultaneous release. It's going to be the same, but surely if it's more powerful hardware, you'd expect the NX version to be different somehow.
Well, the game, what I played, was very pretty.
Yeah.
There were a few moments where the frame rate kind of slowed a bit down, and some of the textures in the distance.
I mean, that's to be expected. It's still early.
Right.
Yeah. But at the same time, like it was a gorgeous world. It felt like walking through like a Studio Ghibli movie. It was amazing. And what I really was amazed by is that, like I said, I'm not a huge Nintendo guy. I'm not a huge Zelda guy. But I played 45 minutes of Zelda, and I'm gonna get an NX on launch.
I wondered where you went.
Yeah.
It convinced you that way.
It looks amazing, and obviously playing it on the Wii U, and it's only gonna play and look better on the NX. One would assume. Like I need more of that game now. Like I've become a complete Zelda convert at this point.
Wow, that's great. See, and for me, like, this is Nintendo's Witcher.
Yeah.
Right? And it's really, really exciting. I need to know more about the NX, though. Like, that was one of the things that I was missing this E3.
Yeah.
I think that was something that a lot of people were hoping would show up. There was a lot of rumors about will it, won't it, and then to hear nothing about it. I think the only way that we know that NX is officially confirmed is Ubisoft made mention of it in their press conference.
Just Dance is coming out.
Yeah, Just Dance on the NX, and everyone's like,
that they are going to come with the NX, Just Dance and Zelda.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Ubisoft just confirmed the NX is an existing system. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And if they are promising simultaneous release, then we need to be hearing about that system very quickly.
The thing is, I mean, I don't understand. Like, normally they would make a big show of it at E3. I don't know if they're gonna. They don't really have much of a presence at Gamescom unless they're gonna, like, Tokyo Game Show's been dwindling the past few years because Gamescom's been completely eclipsing it. So it would be interesting to see if, like, that's when we hear, or if Nintendo just do their own thing and direct and just go, like, let's have a whole hour Zelda NX Direct.
I think that that's actually what's going to happen because they've had such success with those Nintendo Directs, those live streams, that everyone knows this is where we go to get the latest information about, all the big announcements that Nintendo has to offer. Instead of trying to compete in the crowded space of E3 where everyone is making a big announcement. Right, exactly. Everyone's making a big announcement every couple minutes. There's so much news coverage. They recognize, hey, here's our one game, here's our one experience. We want to seed the idea of what this game is going to represent, what it means for the franchise. And then, now that you've gotten acquainted with this, here's the next big thing after Scorpio's been announced, after you've gotten acquainted with Sony VR, all that good stuff.
So you guys both played it, and I'm interested to see, after Star Fox, how they are integrating the Wii U
motion controls.
Because Star Fox, it didn't go down so well. Star Fox was the only game I played at E3 last year, and I just was holding the Wii U gamepad, and I was thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing, and this doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel natural. Is it a necessary component to Zelda, or is it just you can play with the Pro Pad?
To me, and feel free to hop in, but to me, I didn't really get a sense of much motion control in this game at all. Like, yes, you could aim your bow by using the gyroscopic controls, but other than that, really, you could also aim using the control sticks, right? So I didn't really get a sense of how motion, how touch would really apply to this. Maybe there's a menu screen on the gamepad, but other than that, and especially if they're looking to simultaneously port this to NX, presumably, we don't know anything about it, but presumably that'll have to be kind of kept to a minimum.
It just felt like a bit of a bonus. I think the only time I really used the motion controls is I was magnetized to this boulder, and swinging the motion controls would swing the boulder into skeletons, which felt fun. But like I said, it's more of a bonus than like a core gameplay element. It's just like a nice to have.
So that's good. I mean, we're all very much excited about Zelda, but another game, I think this is my game of the show, to be honest.
Really?
It had such an incredible showing at the Ubisoft press conference. Maybe, I think the sequel to Stick of Truth, Fractured But Whole, had the better trailer. But I love the idea of For Honor, and I loved what they showed. So let's talk a little bit about this. I know, Matt, you've been playing a bit.
I have.
Doing
I've gotten to
Game
play
Lab
a little
about
bit.
it.
Yeah, there's an episode of Game Lab about it, my new series. But yeah, I've gotten a hand. My first hands-on experience was last E3. The sword combat was incredible. It's such a far departure from what you expect of sword fighting in a video game, right? So much of sword fighting in video games is button mash, just kind of hack your way through enemies. But here, yes, you have kind of your hack your way through the minions, but then you get to those kind of like hero battles, and you do have that like parrying system. It's very rock, paper, scissors in its execution, where you're having to thoughtfully consider your attacks, the direction, what your opponent's doing, all of that.
Yeah.
Even simple things like feinting a move one way and then like swinging around the other way. All of that is possible in this game, and it's such a refreshing battle mechanic. That's already layered on top of this awesome idea of let's pit Vikings, knights, and samurai against each other and settle all those classic playground debates. Like, fun concept, really, really cool gameplay that I haven't really seen executed this precisely in a game before. It looks gorgeous. I'm really, really excited. Definitely one of my top contenders of E3 this year.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? And it's kind of in vogue at the minute to compare everything to Dark Souls. But I'm going to compare it to Dark Souls. It's just, it's more tactical combat. Like, the thing that I interviewed Jason Vandenberg, the incredible creative director. Basically, he has the voice and the enthusiasm. I've never quite met a dev like him. He's so enthusiastic about his game. And, he was saying that he wants gamers to feel panicky. He wants them to feel like they're in the heat of battle. And the only other game that I've ever really felt like that was Dark Souls. And that's precisely why. It's because it's very considered and measured, and you have to think about what the other opponent is doing, especially in PvP.
Yeah.
Dave, you're a big Dark Souls guy. Can you see those comparisons?
Definitely when it comes to like the multiplayer gameplay we've seen. In Dark Souls, it's very much reading your opponent, feinting attacks, trying to stay mobile. And we did see that in the grand like Samurai versus Knights gameplay that I think was maybe at Gamescom.
Yeah.
And I can see the parallels. I think because For Honor will be more team-based, it'll either take away from that because you'll have your buddies beside you, or it will add to it even more because if you're being attacked by 3 samurai, those are 3 targets you've got to win. But what's amazing about that game is that you can win that fight if you're good enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to seeing how like the 3 kind of warrior casts differentiate from each other, because again, that's going to play into the balance of the game. It's going to play into reading your opponents. If you're fighting a samurai who's much faster than you, and you're a knight who's a lot more encumbered and can't really dodge out of the way, but you can block very well, it's going to be like a layered like battle mechanic. From what, like, you feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen of it, it looks like it's very easy to play, but very hard to master.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. And to your point about, you know, the different classes across Viking, Knight, and Samurai. I keep wanting to say Viking, Knight, and Zombie, but it's not. Viking, Knight, and Samurai.
Maybe DLC.
Right? The zombie class, that would be incredible. Vikings versus zombies would be amazing. But I believe, as I understand it, there are also classes within each of those different ranks, right? So if you're a Viking, you could be like a berserker Viking who is just kind of like stripping off all his armor and going in, hacking and slashing his way through it. So, you know, samurais, you know, with their longer katanas are going to be dealing more at a distance versus those Vikings who are up there in your face with the axes and using kind of brute force to pile your way through. So, but to your point, yeah, it's one of those games that could you get through probably the basic story mode, hacking your way through it and slashing your way through it? I believe so.
Yeah.
You know, similar to you would like a Dynasty Warriors is kind of a parallel that comes to mind. But especially with those PvP battles, and even the ones here on the show floor with people handling the game for the first time, you have to know what you're doing because, you know, clearly they know, and so you having to counter and parry their moves and predict where they're going next, it's a really exciting mechanic. It takes one of the most exciting elements of Dark Souls and kind of builds a full game around it, which is really cool.
What I think is really interesting is they said that what class you pick is kind of like a psychological read on you. They say that, you know, knights are all for honor and, well, for honor. Vikings are more, you know, don't really care, party, kind of
party,
really
drink the
enthusiastic.
mead.
Yeah. And samurai are obviously, you know, steadfast and wise. And so my question to you guys, which class are you picking? And I'm taking notes for the psychology.
I'm Viking. I've already got the beard, so I'm halfway there.
Viking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the kind of brute strength and berserker like intensity of a Viking, and like it's obviously not completely based in reality.
Yeah.
But like, if you were to pit those guys against each other, I think a Viking's gonna win.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No care. Let me bring out my battle axe and hack my way through.
He's just gonna smash that katana in half. The knight is gonna be too slow. Vikings for the win.
I think Vikings are going to win, but as far as like personality assessment, BuzzFeed quiz, you know, what For Honor class are
character are you?
I would say I have to be a knight.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a safe choice, it's a standard choice, but the ideas of chivalry, of honor, you know, of doing your duty and working hard and like for the kingdom, you know, for the greater good, I believe in that.
You know what? This is a very balanced couple of couches.
Samurai?
I'm going to go samurai.
Nice, okay.
Believe in doing things methodically and mastering them, and it just seems nice. Also, I'm not very strong, but I'm very quick.
Right.
I tire easily because I don't really work out, but, you know, quick.
I think samurais work out, Lucy. I
Well,
genuinely think they do
on
train.
Nope, not at all.
No. I just have a big razor blade and hope for the best.
That's how I get through my life. They also showed off some of the single-player campaign, which is really interesting to me because I thought for some reason it'd be 3 campaigns for each faction, but it's not. It's 1 campaign and you play as a knight, then you play as a Viking, you play as a samurai. How do you think that'll kind of work out? Like,
I don't know. I'm really curious about that one, quite honestly. I like in the trailer that they showed during the conference, they're like, oh, there was some massive global upheaval and these 3, you know, classic, you know, cultural heritage things got
just
slammed
managed to get
together.
together.
It was like Pangea reformed. To
Scandinavia, Europe, and Asia just went
it's like
into a ball like fight.
It's like, great, you do you, Ubisoft. You figure out the story that you need to tell to make this happen. I appreciate it. It's ridiculous, but I love it. I have to say, I'm curious. You know, it seems like the big bad appears to be like some Dark Soulsian kind of like female knight who's like Machiavellian controlling this universe. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm really
she
curious.
wants a world devoid of trust or something?
Yes, she wants
she's
everyone
kind of got that. They've been fighting for 1,000 years.
Right? It's like, congratulations, you did it. Well done.
Oh man, but also I think my favorite tidbit from this game is the way that they came up with the fighting mechanic, and it's that the Jason Vandenberg just started to learn German longsword fighting in his spare time and decided to make a game out of it. So my question to you guys is, out of all your hobbies, what could you make a game out of?
Oh, I would make some boring games.
Right? I mean, making YouTube videos for a living, there are already plenty of games online.
Premiere Pro Simulator.
Well, there's already like Tube Tycoon and YouTuber's Life and all these games that people are playing all this year. I'm like, this is not game-worthy material, guys. Like, let me tell you, the day is spent answering emails. It's not that exciting. So,
And I
Dave?
spend my time like painting Warhammer or drinking too much, so... Like, I mean, if you combine those two games...
Beer
might have
Capper,
For
I was
Honor.
gonna...
Yeah, like you get a little model and you're a bit drunk, you're like, well, like 10 out of 100 points for that effort.
I was gonna say, it sounds like some of those old Mario Party mini games where like everyone's partying and then you're trying to like use the jittery hand to try and like trace over the lines.
like the inaccurate Wii remote.
Yeah, like,
come on.
and that's a Goomba. There you go.
But I know some of your hobbies, so...
I do crochet, so I basically do Yoshi's Woolly World.
Crochet Crochet Simulator. The one thing I will say before we hop off of For Honor, though, that I'm really interested in is I have this theory that I've done a couple videos on about the Ubisoft connected universe, the Ubiverse, where different Easter eggs kind of show
Yeah.
that these games all share one collected universe, right? There's references to Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
and Watch Dogs. There's references to Assassin's Creed in Far Cry. I'm very curious to see if that carries through in For Honor and how that might add into the overarching story.
I asked.
Yes.
So
Oh, you asked, right?
I asked him. So there was a first civilization, right?
Yeah.
And then everything kind of broke down. And I said, okay, well, we know that Assassin's Creed had a first civilization. Is it the same? Is it the same world? And he just went, no. So For Honor is not connected in any way, apparently.
No.
I know. I was
I don't
really
believe it.
devastated.
I think they're lying to you.
I hope so. Because
don't-
I want to believe.
Right? I want to believe. Make it happen.
I know.
They're building their own Marvel. Like it's their Marvel connected universe.
Well, I mean, they already have their Civil War.
right. Yeah. This is it. This is their Civil War.
And then, yeah, they have South Park and everything.
So an extension of that then, do you think, like now we've had the Assassin's Creed movie, and we're getting a Watch Dogs movie, are we going to have a For Honor the movie?
I would watch the hell out of that.
Just like 130 minutes of dudes fighting.
Fighting a
Yeah,
bunch.
that's all I
It's
need.
basically 300, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Samurais, Knights, and Vikings.
And throw in zombies. It's the plot
Yeah,
twist
why
at
not?
the end. Third act. They all unite against zombies.
All right. I think that wraps it up pretty much with Zelda and For Honor.
Yep.
Don't go anywhere because we are going to be talking about the new consoles. So Neo, Scorpio, NX. Please don't go anywhere. Come back to the GameSpot stage here at E3 2016.